Hi there, welcome back. Today I'm going to be trying to finish up the Ferris Rasp chopper that I started in the last video. If you haven't seen that, feel free to jump back, watch it. You'll see how I rough forged the shape of this. Today I'm going to be trying to get the grind, the heat treat, and maybe even the handle put on. Just have to see how much I actually get done today. Got a lot of work, so let's get busy. Now, I'm just starting out, so unlike a lot of professionals, I don't have a lot of the fancy tools that some of those guys have, like the extravagant belt sanders and all those fancy tools. I'll be doing pretty much all my work with angle grinder and a file. Yes, it's going to be slow. No, my lines aren't going to look nearly as good as theirs, but can it still be done? Sure. You shouldn't let expensive tools be the barrier to entry to getting into whatever it is that you want to try. You can get by with a lot cheaper stuff. It just might take you more time. You're going to have to be more patient, but you can still do it. This is a homemade bevel filing jig. I honestly don't know how well this is going to work because this board is not perfectly flat. You should probably want something more. How'd that feel? Probably want something more consistent, but hey, this is all about learning, right? Let's see how it works. So I've gotten a lot of the rough filing done, and so far I'm actually really happy with the way this is turning out. The bevels are not totally identical. You can see this one is just a little bit wider than this one, just a tiny bit. A little bit of my marks left from where I was polishing it. I've still got a little bit of cleaning up to do, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. I like the look and the shape and the tip. I had to cut that in, but that's okay. The edge, I don't know how well you can see it. It's still very blunt. I mean, that's a thick edge. It's not really technically an edge yet because I want to leave it a little bit of meat so that when I heat it up, hopefully it'll keep it from warping when I quench it. I don't want it too thick because then that's a lot of hardened material that I'll have to try to remove when I go to put an edge on it, but I don't want it too thin because then it could warp or crack. The edge is just a little bit, it's hard to show in the video. Just trying to show the edge. It's not too bad. The one thing that I really don't like is right here on the spine. right about there. You can see it kind of bows this way. And it's not that the blade is bent, but it's just where I hit it with a hammer, and I kind of got a bend in the spine but not in the whole blade. And I hope I can straighten that out during the heat treating process. Before I heat it up to quench, I think I can straighten that out. I've got a little bit more file work to do, just cleaning it up. I want to put a shoulder here, clean up the handle just a little bit, but coming along. I'm almost ready to heat treat. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but picked up that little warp in the spine that I worked out earlier. I had it pretty much gone. But it's back now. But it's not too bad. I think it's okay. Pretty sure that's a hard file. I think we're good. All right, it's been quenched, and I've already ground off the scale and everything from that. Got it cleaned up a little bit. I'm going to finish polishing and get the edge established. I don't know how sharp I'll get it because I still want to put the scales on before I sharpen it, but that's what I'm going to work on now. So I think it polished up pretty nice, all things considered. Doing this by hand with a angle grinder and some sandpaper, the lines aren't nearly as clean and sharp as I would like. You can really tell that the nice flat edge, where the bevel should transition into the flat of the blade, should be a lot cleaner, and it's pretty much all washed out now. Same on this side. It's almost rounded off. I mean, it's smooth, it's clean, but it's just not nice and sharp and clean like you would get from a professional made knife. But all in all, for it being my first knife, I'm really not too disappointed in it. I do wish those lines came out cleaner, but I think a better file beveling tool will help with that. Also, I've got some ideas for better sanding and polishing methods. There is one issue that I've found with this blade that really concerns me, and I'm gonna do my best to point it out. You can see right here, that is a pretty deep crack, and it goes through to both sides. You can see it's right, well, it's hard to see on the camera. Yeah, there it is. It's right there, and there's actually another one, smaller. Can't get the camera to focus. Right there. So there's a couple of little cracks in the blade that I think happened during the quench. That's one of the things about quenching in water is, from what I've read, it's a lot more likely to crack the blade. But I couldn't get this metal to harden in oil, so that leads me to believe it's something like W1, which only quenches in water, to my knowledge. So I don't know what else to do. I don't know if there's a way to fix that, or I think it's too deep and goes too far to grind it out. So I'm not sure what to do on that. I'm gonna go do some research. Well guys, I've got some bad news. Unfortunately, the cracks that I found in my blade, they're just too deep. Well guys, I've got some bad news. Unfortunately, the cracks that I found in the cutting edge of my blade, they're too deep. I did some research online, talked to some other bladesmiths, and unfortunately there's just really no way to fix those. And any testing that I do with it, it's just gonna break if I hit anything solid with it. So there's really no point in finishing that. I did think about going ahead and putting on handles just to finish it out and say that I finished it, but I think it would just be a waste of material and time. So hey, it is what it is. You know, this is a learning process. I don't know exactly what those files are made out of, and if you don't know exactly what your material is, you don't know the best process for heat treating those. So I did the best I could with what I had, and even, you know, even the best bladesmiths make mistakes. That's just part of making in general, and something that really should be a lesson to all of us. You're gonna run into roadblocks. You're gonna have failures. No matter what you do, you're gonna have failures. But it's not anything that you have to get, you know, beat up about. I mean, hey, I learned something. I learned a lot during this build process. So I'm not considering this a total failure. I consider it a huge learning experience, and I'm not bummed out by it. Yeah, I would like to have had that knife finished and be able to say, look what I did. But sometimes it's just not in the cards. So what are we going to do from here? Well, that knife probably just going to go in the scrap pile, and I'm going to move on and take the lessons I learned from this and move on to another project. Well guys, that's going to do it for this video. The Bowie Chopper build series unfortunately didn't go as planned, but hey, they don't always do that. If you got anything out of this video, like, share, subscribe, do all those things. They really help out. And hit that notification bell because soon I'll be putting out the next build series and it's one I think you're going to like. Thanks for watching guys. We'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe and make things.